Dangerous storms lined up in the Pacific getting ready to hit Northern California. The biggest one hitting tonight into early tomorrow for our Tuesday. You can see the band of rain right now pressing into the coast. Now, this is going to continue to feed us with moisture. It's a warm storm with a big tap of moisture all the way out in the Pacific. High snow levels initially that will come down the hill, but unfortunately, rain on top of snow is going to give us big impacts moving into tonight and tomorrow. Now, you can see out in the Pacific multiple storms lined up here, and we're going to be tracking each one of them. With the storm lineup, you can see Tuesday morning is going to be the biggest impact day that we see, with heavy rain, dangerous winds, and also rain on top of snow again will lead to some localized flooding. Tuesday evening, that snow level starts to go down. We'll see the rain start to taper off with some isolated thunderstorms possible. It's not going to be very widespread, though. Wednesday evening into Friday morning, lighter showers, lowering snow level. And then we'll get that third storm in the series Friday night through Saturday with moderate to heavy rain and rising snow level again. So this is going to be a fluctuating system here. As we head into those advisories, watches and warnings, you can see it's all lit up throughout Northern California. Breaking it down, unpacking each one of these. We've got our winter storm warning in effect Tuesday morning through Wednesday morning with 6 to 40 inches of snow. Wind gusts up to 100 miles per hour, blowing snow and hazardous driving conditions during that time frame. Again, I mentioned the rain on top of snow. That's going to cause some avalanche concerns. That'll be until Wednesday morning, mainly because of gale force winds, rain followed by snow, as well as high snow totals, possible widespread avalanche activity through the Tahoe Basin, extending all the way south into the Yosemite area. Next, we'll focus on winds. High wind warning in effect for the parts of the Sacramento Valley, the foothills, and the Sierra, with gusts up to 85 miles per hour. Again, those Sierra ridge tops, we'll see those gusts up to 100 miles per hour. But down trees and power lines, likely causing widespread power outages and very difficult travel as well. Winds are going to be slightly lighter for the southern part of the Sacramento Valley through the northern San Joaquin Valley and Delta, with gusts up to 50 miles per hour, needing to secure those outdoor objects if you still have some holiday decorations out there. A few power outages and also low visibility with the rain coming in. It'll really be blowing that around. So that rain is going to be heaviest on Tuesday. Snow will be heaviest Wednesday through Thursday, and the wind strongest Tuesday morning. The wind really starts to come down during the afternoon. But again, this all gets going at about midnight into our Tuesday. Winds will be strongest during the early morning hours between roughly 4 and 8 a.m. They even start to calm down just a little bit at 8 a.m., really calming down there by the afternoon. But the rain will still be going. Widespread power outages, as I mentioned, possible in the Sierra. You can see the moderate to widespread, especially south of Highway 50, right near Mammoth and along 395. Once we get into the afternoon, we'll see less impacts from the wind creating power outages, but we could find kind of that snowball effect of everything coming in here. So Monday evening is when we see the onset of some lighter showers. It's really early Tuesday morning with the biggest band of rain. And again, that snow line is going to be pretty high throughout the entire day. For many areas, it's going to be above pass level. During the morning, we see periods of moderate to heavy rain in the valley, as well as through the foothills. And for the Sierra, it's going to be a mix of rain and snow. But the snow line doesn't come down until the evening. That's when we see better opportunity for snowpack growing in the Sierra. We're starting to see the back edge of this system, so there's just not a whole lot of moisture left at that point. Rain and snow will be in the moderate impact level. Wind and travel are going to be in the high impact, and then we're going to focus on flooding as well. Again, more on the moderate side of the impact level. Dangerous driving conditions, though, growing with ponding water. That could lead to roadway flooding, some local street flooding, as well as rises on creeks and streams that could overflow their banks and cause some localized flooding as well. So turn around, don't drown. That continues to be the message when we talk about flooding. In the Sierra, near whiteout conditions, major travel delays, possible road closures, and chain controls as well. The bottom line here is travel is highly discouraged on and off throughout the week. Tuesday morning, our snow line is above the pass. We could find periods of that snow down to about the pass level, but it's not going to be that widespread low snow event that gets those chain controls so low and causes big backups in the Sierra. During the day, though, we've got a lot of changes coming to the forecast as that cold air works in. It's going to help to get that snow line coming down to roughly about 5,000 to 5,500 feet by early Wednesday morning. Again, there's not a whole lot of snow left at that point, but that's where we're going to put that snow level by Wednesday morning. Total snow accumulation 12 to 36 inches for parts of the Sierra. Lassen getting the biggest totals there at 24 to 36 inches with chains, travel, and changing snow levels, the main snow impacts. On the rain side of things, again, this is just through Wednesday. This doesn't account for the multiple storms in the pipeline here. 1 to 2 inches for the valley and towards the coast, 2 to 5 inches for the foothills. And again, this is going to be a rain mixed with snow event for South Lake Tahoe. So we'll still give it 3 to 4 inches of rain for South Lake Tahoe with longer travel times, ponding on roads, and rises on creeks and streams. Looking at the total accumulation through Friday, this will just be through storm system number 2. We'll get 2 to 5 inches of rain in the valley, 4 to 8 for the foothills, and 24 to 54 inches of snow for the Sierra. And it's just because we just don't have a really robust snow event going on with the biggest storm coming in initially. Now, in terms of flooding, it's not that we're really concerned about our reservoirs. They have plenty of capacity. We're only sitting at 30 to 32% for Oroville, Shasta, and Folsom, with New Melones and Don Pedro at 25 to 50% full. Plenty of room for any water that comes down the hill. What will have the bigger impacts are some of the smaller tributaries and some of those smaller waterways. Now, the rivers are big, but they'll still start to see some rises, especially with some of that snow melt coming down the hill. 2 places that we'll be looking at by Thursday are going to be the Sacramento River at Tisdale Weir, and then also the Cosumnes River at Michigan Bar. So it's going to be near flood stage. We'll watch that for some growing concerns with our water levels there, especially once we get through this weekend and into next week. We'll time it out again. Here we go. During the evening is when we see the rain really picking up during the early morning hours of Tuesday, and the rain and snow will be present in the Sierra with that snow line coming down. Again, that's storm system number 1. Wednesday, for all intents and purposes, is going to be a fairly decent day of travel. But then by Wednesday night through Thursday, we get a weaker storm. This is going to be storm system number 2. It is colder, so our snow level is going to be quite a bit lower, roughly about 3,500 to 4,500 feet. So if you're traveling up into the Sierra on Thursday, it's going to be slow going, if not even some road closures, because of the fact that we're going to have those chain controls so much lower on Thursday morning. Rain continues throughout the valley, lighter amounts, but it's going to add to those totals. Right behind it, without much break, actually, we get Friday into Saturday's storm. That one happens to be warmer again. Snow levels are a little bit early to tell how high they're actually going to be, but right now it's looking more like 6,000 to even 7,500 feet. Again, that's going to be rain on top of that snowpack, putting avalanche risk at a higher risk there for the end of the week. This is going to lead us all the way into New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I know it's a big skiing and snowboarding period, but it's one of those things that is just flat out really dangerous. Again, Wednesday being perhaps the best day for our travel, the way that things are playing out right now, because we get right back into this active weather period Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Saturday, though, by the evening, it is looking like things are going to start to clear up. So for the mountains, the hills, and the coast, and we'll include the valley in there, it is looking like the better day. These are big atmospheric rivers, those big plumes of moisture out in the Pacific that feed us with the rain and snow that we actually need this time of year. It's just on the flip side of things, it can be quite hazardous. So it's both the mix of the beneficial and the hazardous that we look at for these atmospheric rivers. The first one hits for Tuesday. This is going to be the biggest one for us. And then the weaker one hits on Thursday, followed directly behind it with the Friday-Saturday storm, Saturday night through Sunday to welcome in the new year. We're dry, but here we go again. By Monday, another line of storms getting ready to hit California. Now, it's early in the game to really pinpoint and fine-tune that forecast into next week, but the guidance is showing that we're going to be back to a wet period by next week as well. It's well-needed rain. We're starting to see those deficits grow as we head into what should be the rainiest point in our year. We're down almost an inch for Sacramento and San Francisco, closer to about 5 inches for parts of the northern areas of the state, and those were hardest hit by the drought last year, January, February, and March. This is great rain. We have the capacity to hold it right now, but successive storms coming in next week could put some pressure on many of our waterways. The Sierra so far at about 135 to almost 200% of normal. This is really going to bump up those numbers by the end of this week. If we weren't to get anything else for the rest of the year, we'd be close to about 40 to 50% of our April 1st average, which is generally the mark that we look at for how much runoff we're going to get filling our reservoirs and feeding us with the water that we need through the dry summer months. These are welcome storms. Again, we just need a little bit of a break so that everything can kind of flush through the system and get the state the water that we need. So our average to date throughout the state is 152%. Again, 43% of that April 1st average. Here is a look at a very wet 10-day forecast. A bit of a break on Wednesday, and then we are right back to the rain heading into New Year's Eve. But New Year's Day looks dry. Again, next week is still to be determined, but it's something to watch, especially with growing flooding concerns.